Hello again, everybody. I'm Chris Reel, and I have a special Baltimore story for you today. In just a moment, I will be joined by Troy Lowman, a Maryland filmmaker who got bit by the movie bug when he landed a role as an extra in the film The Replacements, the football film that was produced on location here in Baltimore. And his latest project, a documentary called Ghosts of 33rd Street, explores the heyday of the Baltimore Colts, their abrupt departure, and the void left in the city after they moved to Indianapolis. The film features interviews with former Colts, Ravens, sports reporters, politicians, cheerleaders, and fans, and really provides a unique perspective on that entire situation. Take a look at the trailer from Ghosts of 33rd Street.
National Football League championship on the line in Baltimore. Patriots are the hometown Colts, out to become the fourth team in league history to win 2 straight playoff titles.
Come on, man, I get one of these fans down. It costs $1.
It was gigantically loud. You could tell a running first down from a passing first down.
For me, it was the love of the game. I couldn't wait to get out. My family was such a huge Colt family, and I absolutely just loved watching. Couldn't wait to get out there.
I have no deal with Phoenix in the world.
The sad part about it was he was in Phoenix a few days before negotiating the deal.
You know, there's certain places, that are iconic that, those cities should have franchises. Baltimore should. So it was surprising even to us in the league when Baltimore Colts left.
I've never been so proud in my whole life to be connected with the Baltimore Colts.
Start winning, it's infectious.
This city had their child stolen from them. They were kidnapped, and they got him back.
The wounds of the Colts' departure were still very fresh here for some.
The grief and the anguish that people felt that our having lost the Colts, such a storied and, legendary team.
So Troy Lowman is joining us now, the filmmaker responsible for Ghosts of 33rd Street. Hi, Troy. How are you?
Hey, Chris. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. So we've just seen the trailer. This film looks really cool. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect when we get to see this?
Okay, so Ghosts of 33rd Street, Chris, is about a legendary football team, their relationship with the town of Baltimore, how that town lost the team, and then ultimately the angst, the pain of that 11-year period, and then getting the redemption of getting an NFL football team back here. So like I say, the Baltimore Colts was my primary reason for making this, and also how it related to the town of Baltimore, the fabric of Baltimore, when they had the Colts and then when they didn't.
How did you decide that this was a story you wanted to tell? What's your background and your relationship with the Colts?
Well, I went to college in the 80s. I actually went to UMBC, and I'm from the Eastern Shore, Maryland. When the Colts left, I saw a lot of my Baltimore friends, Havre de Grace, Catonsville, downtown Baltimore. I saw the pain and angst that they had when they left. Fair warning, I was a Redskin fan growing up, and all the way up till recently. And so, that was their heyday. They were the team of the decade. So I saw my friends basically lost on a Sunday afternoon. They were not going to go over to the Redskins. The documentary will show how Baltimore feels about the Redskins in depth. And they really didn't know who to root for. So I thought at the time, I said, this is an intriguing story that somebody should tell one day.
That's a really great point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't have much memory of the Colts being here, but I do remember when I was growing up, my family said the one team I was not allowed to root for was the Washington Redskins. So I can relate to that.
Right.
Well, in the trailer, we saw some familiar faces, former mayors Kurt Schmoke, Martin O'Malley, among others. Who else did you talk to put this film together?
Tom Maddie, who I think is one of the most important Colts of all time. He was glad to give us an interview. We had Bruce Laird and Rick Volk from the 70s. We had Stan White. who was really passionate about it. We even had Matt Stover, who was a Brown when the Ravens came over. So it was across the board. We even had 89-year-old Doug Eggers, who was with the Colts when Unitas came in. He saw him as a rookie, and some of his stories were priceless about the old NFL and the genesis of the Colts' greatness.
You know, it's funny to think that the Colts have actually been in Indianapolis now longer than they were in Baltimore, but it still feels like Baltimore's team to a lot of people.
I mean, this town, look, the Orioles are great. They've been really good, but this has always been a Colt. It was always a Colt town. It was Colts. It was football. They personified the town, blue collar, hardworking, winning. Everything that they wanted to aspire to be as a city, the Colts were. So they love the Colts. And, you know, some of these old Colts like Matty and, you know, Laird and Volk, getting them on film, I'll always be gratified that I got their take, especially, you know, 25, 30 years after the fact, to give it a little bit of a distance and perspective. It's just priceless. But the Baltimore Colts and their fans are the real stars of this thing.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to see it. When will it be available, and how can we take a look at this?
Well, I want the Baltimore fans to see it first. You know, we've had a lot of interest in selling it to one of the content monsters. But initially what we're going to do, Chris, is we're going to put it on Vimeo, maybe a couple other streaming services. It will be out this weekend. I got to give a shout out to my producer, Peter Ebanks. He was unbelievable. He's got footage in here. I don't know how he got it, but, you know, I'm a pretty big football fan, and I've never seen some of this footage. People are going to say, wow, I've never seen that before. So it's not your run-of-the-mill footage that you're going to see in this. And I think the pace of it, there's a beat to it. And, you know, the previews we've had so far, everybody's really liked it and says it moves along really nicely.
That's great. Well, we can't wait to see it. You can tell just by talking to you and by seeing some of the clips from the trailer how passionate everybody is about this story and that bygone era. So we look forward to seeing the film, and we will make sure we share all of the social media platforms, website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We'll get it out there, and we want as many great Baltimore Colt fans to see this film as possible. So thank you so much, Troy, for joining me today.
Thanks a lot. I hope everybody enjoys it, and I really appreciate you having me on, Chris.